Hello, everybody. This is Catholic Dad, episode number 350. What bicycle helmets have done. Now, we're living in the day of the Corona COVID crises, where the whole world is panicking because it's everybody pretty much thinks it's ending because there's this horrible pandemic on planet Earth that's going to wipe away pretty much anybody it comes in contact with. The world is hysterical and it's out of control right now. What does this have to do with bicycle helmets? So, has anybody here ever ridden a bicycle as a little kid? Pretty much everybody has. If you're over the age of 30, you probably never wore a bicycle helmet because they didn't really exist back then, and certainly it wasn't pushed down everybody's throats. If you're over the age of 30, or if you never really wore a bicycle helmet as a kid, do you think what you did was an intrinsically dangerous activity? Well, maybe slightly, but it was a measured risk that you took as a child, even as a teenager, even as an adult today. I don't wear bicycle helmets today, but all that being said is I take risks in my life and I measure the risks and I do something called risk management. Now, if we took a behavior as for kids that was intrinsically safe for the most part with just a small amount of measured risk and danger, and then we try to make it even safer by putting a bicycle helmet on their head, what did we do? Well, we made them more risk averse, and we made them less able to deal with risky situations in the future. That's what we did. Now, does this make kids safer? Maybe. We don't even know that. Does this make the kids less risk averse or more risk averse? Yeah, it absolutely does. And so we made a society of people, and it's not just bicycle helmets, that's just a small example, but we made people that took a safe behavior, and we didn't want any kid ever getting hurt, bumping their face, hitting their head on the pavement, or whatever else that kids do. I don't know how many times I bumped my head on the pavement. And it makes you a better person. It makes you realize what true risk is, and it makes you a better risk manager for later on in life when you actually have to do something difficult and hard. Well, what did we do after that? Well, then we started putting helmets on people while we do like skiing activities. Like, why the heck are we doing that? And then helmets on people skateboarding, and then we started putting a whole bunch of pads on people when they play sports, and shin guards on people when they play baseball, and then you name it. Like, the amount of safety equipment we have in the world, when all we really need is kids to be good risk managers to try to avoid injury. And in fact, just to let you know something, there are more head injuries with less bicycle riders today with everybody wearing bicycle helmets than there were before everybody ubiquitously wore bicycle helmets, which means they're probably not working anyway. But as you grow up as a kid and you're told you should be risk averse, what happens one day when a pandemic hits the earth? And I'm not talking just bicycle helmets here. I'm talking all the behaviors we try to protect kids with these days. We don't let them have any freedom and any liberty. We don't let them fist fight. We don't let them bully. We don't let them, we don't let anybody do anything that is slightly uncomfortable for anybody. In fact, we're in a pronoun revolution. Like, if you call somebody the wrong pronoun, you could be thrown in jail or fined or whatever else. And so we made people so they don't even know how to function with risk management in their lives. And they've become so risk adverse. When somebody says pandemic, everybody freaks out and gives away 233 years of good American liberty. I mean, essentially, we've abrogated all our rights and to the governments, our state governments and our federal governments, and they've usurped every single one of our constitutional rights over this pandemic. Now, the pandemic, whether it's real or not, let's just say it is real and we're going to lose 3 million Americans or something like that, right? Let's just say that we're like how it would play out. Well, are 3 million Americans, saving 3 million American lives, worth giving up our long-fought freedoms and held freedoms of 233 years? That's something you got to manage, right? You got to risk manage. Worst case scenario, I'd say no. I mean, you really got to think about this stuff, people. That we're going to roll over and die for the state and give up our individual liberties and rights because somebody somewhere claimed there was some grave threat and danger to us from an extrinsic portion of the world that we have to all give our rights up to collectively together, roll over and die, and allow the government to protect us. That should make every American have heartburn. So why are we willing to do this? Well, it's because we're lousy risk managers. Like we grew up knowing you're not supposed to ever bump your head on the pavement. You're not ever supposed to bump your head on the ski slopes. Oh, you're not ever supposed to hurt your shoulders in football because you have shoulder pads on. Oh, you're not ever supposed to hit your shins in baseball because we put on shin guards. Like, you're never supposed to do anything difficult and hard and ever get hurt or have any adverse outcome from anything that you do. We become very risk averse and very poor risk managers. And so when somebody says, pandemic, blah, and they freak out. Everybody goes, freak out here, take my rights, protect me. I'll give up my entire life. I'll give up my job security, all my private property. I'll give up my freedom of speech, my freedom to assemble. I'll give up, you name everything that you're not allowed to do today in the name of security. And Ben Franklin said, those who are willing to give up liberty for security are deserving of neither. And for sure, I think that's probably true. Now, so we've created a generation of people that are not willing to do difficult, hard things. And this was a great test, by the way, this COVID corona thing. Whatever it plays out, I bet you there's not even 50,000 dead when this is over, which would make it a pretty typical flu season once it's all is said and done. I could be wrong about that. But all that being said is, if we're not willing to step up and defend our liberties during pandemic or war or any kind of national catastrophe, then are we really willing to protect our liberties? Because no great usurper, no great tyrant will ever step up and usurp your rights when he's not claiming some great catastrophe or some cataclysm or some great extrinsic human rights issue or like great threat to the world. And so this is a test, America. This is a test for the world. And the testers, by the way, whether real or not, the people, the New World Order, the autocracy of the world, the multinational governments of the world, the bourgeois of the world, or whatever you want to call them, they've seen the test and they know that the people don't have fight in them anymore. And so the next time that they want people to roll over and die, the next time they want to change the national course of events, they can create pandemic out of the common cold. They can create pandemic out of a typical flu season. And then they can say that they saved us all as we abrogate our rights to the usurpation of autocrats and dictators. And really, this is a test for Americans. And I do see some hope, by the way. I see some wonderful hope because, nobody's at work anymore. Everybody's been told to stay home. Nobody's out doing like jobs, and now parents and kids are home. And I went on a long walk with my kids today, which I do actually quite frequently. And what did I see? I saw families out playing. I saw kids pulling wheelies in the street on motorcycles without helmets. I saw kids sticking their hands through the fence feeding cattle grass. Maybe they get bitten. Maybe I saw people out playing, doing risky things, riding bicycles without helmets, you name it, and having fun and giggling and learning how to be risk managers. So the next time, by the way, because there will be a next time, just to let you know, there will be a next time when the New World Order and the media get on board and state that the great next pandemic or the new wave of corona or this or the resurgence of coronavirus are going to pop up. The next time people could say, no, we're not going to shut down our economy for you. We'll be better risk managers. If people are old and frail and they have bad lungs, they can stay indoors. The young, healthy people that are raising families cannot be giving up all their private property and their rights in the name of saving some. They just can't do that. You don't give up your individual liberties for such things. And so, and maybe it was a far stretch to say that bicycle helmets did it, but I don't think so. When you make people risk averse and you make people poor risk managers, when risk comes into society, are you really willing to do the risky thing? And the answer is no. And we need to hold the line, people. We need to stand up. We need to put our shoulders back. And the next time they come try to usurp your rights, you tell them no. And in fact, this is just a prediction. I don't know. Maybe I'm overstepping my bounds on this. Maybe I'm a bad predictor. But the next time they come for your rights, it's not going to be in the name of like national security against pandemics. It's going to be in the name of something else. And so when there's riots in the street because of the economic downturn that we're going into, which there may, then there may be martial law. And if there's martial law, people may resist the martial law. And then they may actually start to seize firearms from the sovereign people of our nation. And if they start doing that, I would tell you, stand strong and don't capitulate. Don't. Because don't be fearful. Become good risk managers and take the risk. If you're not willing to take the risk and get hurt and die for your liberty, then your liberty is not really worth anything anyway, and then you're not really a free person. So this is Catholic Dad making you think about it. Please like and subscribe. Don't get to Mass because we're not allowed to go to Mass, but certainly do some prayer and meditation over Holy Week. Easter's coming up, and if you have any spare money or anything left, give some charity to those who need it, because really your society is going to need some help coming up. If you have any extra food, give it to another family. you name it. So anyway, take care, God bless, and learn how to manage risk and do some risky things, people. Learn how to ride a motorcycle or something. God bless you all. Take care.